Twisted Metal Deluxe Destruction All-Stars Review.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. First review for the month, and this one I was a little excited for. Back in November, the PS5 was a short time away from launching, and with it I wanted to start this channel. Why am I bringing this up? Well, it's because I felt that my original review for the console and its launch games that I played lacked in the multiplayer department. As fun as it was to get my cheeks clapped in Demon Souls, there wasn't really anything strictly online only. Anyway, Destruction All-Stars was slated to be released along with the PS5, but it was delayed until now. But as an apology, the game was set to be a part of February's PS Plus selection. It was also because Sony wanted the game to be played by as many people as possible. Before we get into the actual review, I wanted to talk about a few things of why I think this game may struggle a bit. The first reason is the PS5 is stupidly hard to get, and price will also be a factor. Of course, no one could have predicted how bad the scalper problem was, but it's the main reason why most people don't have it. Number 2, this problem is slightly resolved with the free-to-play model with PS Plus. Regardless, this game was originally retailing for 110 Australian, along with the PS5 and of course a PS Plus subscription to actually play the game. This feels like it's quite a bit, and I think most people wouldn't have gotten a PS Plus subscription, and they would have just bought games that didn't require it. While you don't have to pay for this game anymore, I still feel like Sony wasn't going to get a lot of players from this just from being a PS5 exclusive and being restricted to online only, regardless if you had bought the game or not. And finally, the last problem is the game is fairly niche, I would say. While Rocket League and older players who played Twisted Metal would have warmed up to this game, I think its style and general characters and theme to it may have worked against it, which brings me to why I'm bringing all of this up. It was very frequent that every lobby I joined were the same players, and it took a while when it wasn't the same players. This doesn't confirm anything, but I'd be really interested to see the player count for this game. What I'm trying to say is, as an online-only game being a PS5 exclusive only, I think it hurt it a bit, but not as much as if you had to buy it separately as well. But regardless, on with the review. I felt heavy Twisted Metal vibes going into this game, and considering Twisted Metal was one of the original PlayStation's killer IPs, it feels like this would be Sony bringing back a familiar game into the modern era. This game mixes a bit of Rocket League and, don't at me for this one, Overwatch. It has a similar feel to Twisted Metal, but it has a much more wholesome spirit to it compared to Evil Clown killing other people in an arena in an ice cream van so he can kill the one person that got away. This game has a great mix of style while utilizing the PS5's ray tracing to really blur the line of realism and style without giving it the uncanny valley effect. In the game's challenge modes, which is pretty much the single player content, they feature cutscenes that look like it could have been done by Pixar, on a budget, and in their spare time. Weird comparison, but it looks good, and seeing realistic reflections make it all the better. Sound design works well as well, with its own unique sound cues that give it its own feel, and the voice actors did a decent job. With 4 modes, 2 solo and 2 team-based, it's pretty limiting, but it doesn't harm the game too much, as the gameplay can be pretty addicting once you work it out. The thing that I struggled with was balancing in-vehicle and on-foot gameplay. At times, it felt like being on foot was completely pointless, along with the gems you had to collect to fill up your breaker meter, which is this game's special meter, and of course special vehicle hero summons. It doesn't feel quite right at the start, but once you work it out, and at least when you work it out with Mayhem, the game's main mode, that you only just have to hit cars and players as much as possible once you get into the gameplay loop. The only noticeable issue I had with the controls is how the right stick is used for the vehicular combat. The right stick is used to slam forwards or to the sides, normally to avoid enemies. This took time to get used to, as I was stuck in the habit of accidentally using my sideways slam trying to adjust the camera after drifting. I did get used to it, as the automatic camera works really well, but with the mix of being able to control the camera while on foot, this was slightly off-putting. The characters are not the best. While I praise this game for having such a diverse roster that I think Overwatch should take an example from, I just don't find them as interesting as the previously mentioned game. As tradition of choosing the cutest and pinkest character for competitive games, e.g. Kirby for Smash Ultimate and Diva for Overwatch, I gravitated towards Twinkle Riot. I'm sorry, I thought Diva was a cringe name. Twinkle Riot with her car Mr. Sparkles. After I got past the cringe, I tried to work out what her nationality was, and lo and behold, I believe she is an Arabic character, judging by her menu music and accent. Which, off the top of my head, I really can't remember any notable Arabic characters in gaming. I can't forget Genesis, the game's own Blade Runner, who also seems to be the fastest, which I think is awesome. While I love these characters' concepts, the end product ended up being pretty shallow. Twinkle Riot is just a cute, vexing type, but ends up just trying too hard to be funny and saying things like, "Oh, I can see mum and dad from here." Ultimo, who is just a jock type flexing and claiming to be the best, which does suit his luchador persona, but just comes off as being arrogant. Until I played him in his challenge mode, which is currently the only free one. This is where I think they dive deeper into the characters and made me see Ultimo in a much better light. The problem is that this is where the game's monetization comes in. While Ultimo is free, all the other challenge modes require destruction points, which can only be bought with real money. They do claim that later in the year, these can be earned from gameplay. While this is the only way they can realistically make their money back, currently I think this ends up harming the characters, and if players only stick to multiplayer, they'll only be seen as caricatures instead of characters. Going back to the gameplay loop, this game has a very good one. I felt powerful when I was top in the lobby and felt crushed but eager to learn and get back in when I was defeated. After playing 10 hours across all modes and most of the characters, the replayability is pretty strong but not solid. I can easily see myself maybe putting another 10 hours and maybe getting all of the stars in Ultimo's challenge mode. I would probably start getting tired of the game after that point. They will of course put new characters and modes, but if you're not spending money to get more challenge modes, you may find yourself getting bored and slowly moving away from the game. The gameplay loop is pretty engaging, which gets better after trying out more characters and modes and learning how to play them. It looks and sounds great, but the monetization method reduces the characters to caricatures. You may find yourself waiting for a match as you have to align a few planets to actually be able to play this game. It will heavily depend on the support of the devs to keep this game afloat, and its entrance is good, but not great. I hopefully will be coming back to it for a bit, and if by some miracle my friends actually get everything and are able to play this game, I do think I'll be playing more of it. I'm uncertain what future will be in store for this game, but I trust if Sony was willing to delay it to get the maximum amount of players, then maybe there will be strong support for this game. As it currently stands, it's a fun multiplayer experience built off old and new games, but may lack in contact and lead to a dramatic player drop. I'm giving Destruction All-Stars a 7.6 out of 10. Okay, channel update. I have 3 more videos on the board for this month. Mario 3D Land Switch port, which will be the next video, which comes out a couple days from now, followed by Persona 5 Strikers and the end of month summary for February. These last 2 videos will be delayed and most likely won't come out until early March. Nothing bad's happening, just taking a week's vacation, coincidentally on the week that Persona 5 Strikers comes out. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I also have a Twitter if you're interested in that. I'll see you guys next time when I'm jumping around in a cat suit in Mario's 3D Land for Switch. I'll see you around.